Welcome to the SBI Podcast, offering CEOs, sales and marketing leaders ideas to make the number.
Welcome, SBI Podcast listeners and video podcast viewers. My name is Greg Alexander, and I am the CEO of SBI, a sales and marketing firm dedicated to helping you make your number. This is the weekly SBI podcast, and its purpose is to help you make your number by getting your peers to share with you how they make theirs. That's a novel concept. Today's guest is Dave Howard, and he is the Senior Vice President of Sales Operations at FIS, a global leader in banking and payment solutions. FIS serves over 14,000 institutions in 130 countries and employs approximately 42,000 people and does a little over $6 billion in annual sales, and is a member of both the Fortune 500 and the S&P 500. Dave has been with the company for 15 years and received his education from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Greg, and good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to be with you today.
Okay, today I am going to ask Dave to help his peers, other sales ops leaders in the audience, set their company up for success by demonstrating how to build a sales ops strategy. And who better to do that than Dave, given his years of experience and the scope of his job? And the reason I asked Dave to be on the show is because we have seen recently a tragedy. And that is the role of sales ops has become corrupted. It has become a catch-all job without a defined role and a clear set of expectations. And what's worse is that what this means is sales ops leaders end up working 80 hours a week with no end in sight. And that is no way to live. So we are going to use a section of SBI's revenue growth methodology to guide our conversation, specifically pages 186 and 192. If you want to follow along at home, download a copy of our methodology at salesbenchmarkindex.com/2016 report. Dave, are you ready to go?
Absolutely, and thank you for the opportunity again, Greg. This is a topic, given my experience, that I'm very passionate about. And you touched on a very important point there, and is a danger for all of us who work in this discipline. And that is the opportunity to become distracted by many other opportunities to spend time and impact the company, however they may be positive, come off of your mission and affect the sales teams in a negative way. That's a challenge we face in this discipline every day. You know, by their nature, folks who work in our discipline are extremely knowledgeable about the about their companies, about their businesses, and about their markets, and that leads us to be very valued resources when it comes to a variety of topics. But what is very important is that we have a definition, and we stick to that definition of how we're going to apply our resources, our precious resources, towards the advancement of our sales teams and assisting them in making their numbers, because it is very easy to get pulled into a number of different directions.
Yep. All right, so let's jump into it here a little bit. So given what you and I just said, I think everything starts with the business objectives of the sales ops team and understanding how those are determined. So Dave, share with the audience the objectives you have provided the sales ops team, and most importantly, how you reached those objectives.
We've got primary objectives that for us are very strongly aligned with the business priorities of the segments that we're serving, and that we think is a very critical function of the sales ops team and sales ops function. And that is, as the business has its priorities, and our priorities are driven around growth, from the enterprise level to the division level to the line of business level to the sales team level to the sales ops and support level, all need to be walking in unison towards that goal. It's no benefit to the organization if they have if the organization has a primary objective of delving into a new market, if my objectives aren't supporting that end. So a couple of the objectives that are front and center for us are really around revenue growth and client retention and ease of operation. So those three things together are front and center in everything that we try to tie back to and how we execute our sales ops missions on a daily basis. And having the sales teams in alignment with those objectives and our activities to support the sales team's execution of those objectives is critically important.
Okay, so we've got 3 objectives, which is great, and I'm glad that you were able to just name those to me, because I didn't give you these questions in advance, and that tells me that you guys have spent some time on this, which is excellent. So my follow-up question to that is, what internal processes is your team, the sales ops team, responsible for? So, for example, do you own pricing or order management or comp or training? Because the internal processes support the objectives. So that's a logical next thing to talk about. So share with share with the audience what you're responsible for internally.
Sure. Well, all of those things you hit on fit in. So we are responsible for the training and professional development of our sales team. We're responsible for comp plan creation, development on an annual basis, as well as the administration of the comp plan on a transaction by transaction basis. We're responsible for lead generation activities and helping our sales teams find new opportunities efficiently and as effectively as possible. And we're accountable for typical operational type reporting capabilities and things like from the rep level all the way up to the senior sales executive management level in terms of scorekeeping, activity reporting, and creation of quick view dashboards and things like that. So our sales leaders and our sales reps have a good understanding of where they stand at any given point in time towards meeting their objectives.
Okay.
Additionally, we're responsible for ongoing development of the tools and the infrastructure to help that evolve to the changing evolution of the sales teams, as well as some general support activities and interaction with our external consultant community that get involved in facilitating transactions on behalf of clients and prospects.
Okay. Dave, do you remember Mike Trapeau? You and he met at the Atlanta airport, got to be 10 years ago now. Do you remember him?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, great. The reason why I bring him up is your answer reminds me of him. He is the partner at SBI who leads the sales ops practice. And Mike wrote an article for the SBI magazine titled Keeping Sales Ops from Becoming Sales Oops, which I thought was great. And we published that in the Q2 edition of the magazine, so I'm holding that up here in my hands. Those listening to our conversation are probably going to want to read this article. So let's take a short break here and let them know how to get a copy. So we'll be right back.
Making your number is hard. Your problems are complex. Complex problems need complex solutions. Introducing the SBI Magazine. Read in-depth stories written by award-winning journalists about how your peers have overcome their problems to make the numbers. When you need more than a tweet, social post, or blog article, turn to the SBI Magazine. Go to salesbenchmarkindex.com to subscribe.
Okay, welcome back. My name is Greg Alexander, and I'm the CEO of SBI. And my guest today is Dave Howard, the SVP of Sales Ops for FIS. Today, we are discussing how a sales ops leader can set his or her company up for success by developing a great sales ops strategy. And we are using SBI's revenue growth methodology to do it, specifically pages 186 to 192, if you're following along at home. Right before the break, Dave shared with us how he sets objectives for the sales ops team. He had 3 very crisp objectives, and he also discussed which processes he owns inside of his company that should be part of the sales ops charter, if you will, to support those objectives. During this segment, we're going to hear from Dave about how to build a data plan and how to sit a sales analytics capability on top of it. This is a problem for many sales ops leaders. So, Dave, my questions here are going to be unfair. Forgive me, but do your best to kind of share with us current state, if you will.
Sure.
What is your data architecture in simple terms, and how has this unfolded over the years?
Our data architecture, that's an interesting question. We have a master customer database, a centralized one for the company, and off of that, we hang other appropriate data structures that are related to sales. So, for example, a contracting facility, a sales pipelining facility. But the one thing that they have all in common is a singular identifier for a customer that we can tie back to other disparate pieces of information. Things like what we call an entity ID, which is critically central to us because in our business, you can have many organizations that are named the same or named very similar. And so it's important that as it relates to whether it's contract data, sales opportunity, future-based data, or closed sales, that everything is lined up correctly with the right client because of how our coverage model works with individuals who are responsible for those clients. Having that information well organized is critically important to make sure the sales team can execute. We can't have them fishing around disparate systems trying to find out information about their clients or about their prospects.
You know, I'm so pleased to hear you give me that answer. I'm literally engaged in a project right now where this company has a massive amount of data and they're struggling with the parent-child hierarchy conversation, and they haven't gotten to the point of establishing a unique identifier, what you called your entity ID. And our view is, which is consistent with yours, it sounds like, is you really can't do any type of analytics that are meaningful, that might be insightful, without that. And it's not easy to get to, and you guys have thousands and thousands of customers all over the place. How'd you get there? How long did it take? When did you get this done? Kind of walk me through that journey.
Well, you know, I have to say that we rely on a couple of sources. We have our own data sources that we've maintained over the years, and then also we rely on some purchased data as well. Because as you can imagine, in a marketplace such as ours, there's an awful lot of change going on in our industry. It doesn't make us unique, but you know, in the industry I'm in, I've got to deal with where we work, right?
Yep.
And so when we have a lot of mergers and consolidations, and sometimes organizations succeed and fail. They change brands, or they go out of business, or that sort of thing. We've got to capture that evolution, and we have to know that these entities have rolled into other entities, and so we work with a combination of our own data and a combination of purchase data, whether it's for financial institutions or retail organizations and small businesses as well, which we also serve. Mm-hmm. And everyone knows how frequently small businesses change in terms of either their naming conventions or whether or not just their existence. And so we're constantly mining that data, mining that information, and updating it into our master database so we can stay current.
That's a great answer, and I'm pleased to hear that you're using external data sources because, I mean, you can just imagine how difficult it would be to try to do all that in-house. I mean, there's data that you're generating in-house, like transaction data, that you couldn't get externally, but appending that information with external databases enriches the data quite a bit. So that's a great best practice for all of us to follow. Let me go to my next question, which is around dashboards. You mentioned earlier that you support decision-making inside the sales organization, which links up to the executive team by providing dashboards. So tell me a little bit about, what types of dashboards you create, who are they for, and how are they used to enable effective decision-making?
Certainly. It's one of our favorite topics because we're in process of doing a little evolution here to help improve what we do. But those dashboards are created everywhere from an individual rep and distributed to those individual reps on a weekly basis so they can see their standing against their objectives.
Wow.
and view into their pipelines and what they've done, to the next frontline management layer above that, to the national managers and to the executive managers. And those are used really in concert with territory reviews, and as well as what from a management perspective, but really from a rep perspective as well, is when they get their objective for the year, they leverage that information to help them in planning out how they're going to get from point A to point B to meet their objectives. And those dashboards are delivered in an automated fashion on a weekly basis, and now we're evolving towards digital, interactive, real-time dashboards that will also be able to access via virtually any device here in the field. So that's a real exciting topic for us. Our requirements are always changing because the market is so dynamic. Our teams are constantly looking for new and better angles and ways to improve their attacks, as well as for us internally just having to adapt to organizational changes as well, and reassignments, which are always occurring.
So I'm going to ask a question that I didn't have written down here, but I want to get your opinion on it, a little off script, if you will. So just getting to weekly dashboards pushed out to the sales team would be utopia for many people that are listening and watching this podcast. And you got there, and you've now taken it a step forward, and you've gone real time. So what was the benefit of going from weekly to real time? Why'd you decide to do that?
Really, part of it was the distribution, the distribution channel, the infrastructure that we have to deliver on a weekly basis. We just frankly needed to change because we outgrew it, and we outgrew it with the number of reps, the number of reports and permutations, and so it's an ongoing challenge for us to manage through that infrastructure. We're not completely there on the real time. We've got a lot built in that facility, but we needed to start our transformation to a more advanced technology for a simple reason. Whenever we've created those dashboards in the past, they answer a tremendous number of questions, but almost invariably they invite more questions.
Yeah.
And when you invite more questions and you're running off of a static dashboard, then that means somebody has to update and recreate and go through a cycle. When we have some of these real-time dashboards, they're able to see the dashboard, ask a question, and drill down and get their answer. We just need to move faster, Greg.
Yeah, that's I wouldn't have thought of that answer, but going faster actually makes it easier, which that's a little counterintuitive, but that makes a lot of sense. Did you get a chance to listen to the podcast we published a little while back with Bill Sexton, who heads the sales ops group at Zebra Technologies, by chance?
I believe I did.
Yeah.
refresh me on the topic.
Yeah. It was about, he just went through a massive sales comp project where they took literally like 500 individual comp plans and netted them down to 5. I'm bringing it up just because those that are listening to you are people who are interested in sales ops inside of a very large enterprise. And Bill leads sales ops for a large tech company just like you. So I wanted to make the listeners and watchers of this show aware of that episode so that they can get another perspective. So let's just take another quick break here and make this audience aware of that particular podcast. So take a short break and we'll be right back.
Do you have too many things to do and not enough time to do them? Is finding time to learn best practices almost impossible? The SBI Podcast is your solution. Turn time spent exercising, commuting, and traveling into productive learning time with a subscription to the SBI Podcast. SBI Podcast listeners get unique insight into real-world sales and marketing issues through interviews with your industry peers every week. Find us on iTunes by searching for Sales Benchmark Index Podcast and subscribe today.
Welcome back. My name is Greg Alexander and I'm the CEO of SBI. And my guest today is Dave Howard, the Senior Vice President of Sales Ops at FIS. And today we are discussing how sales ops leaders succeed by developing a sales ops strategy. And we're using SBI's revenue growth methodology to do it. And if you want to follow along here, it's pages 186 to 192, where you can get the report at salesbenchmarkindex.com/2016 report. It's titled, How to Make Your Number in 2016. Before the break, Dave and I were discussing data architecture, sales analytics, and dashboards. During this segment, Dave's going to share with us his technology stack, the QBR process, quarterly business review process, and how he interfaces with the rest of the company, which in an organization that has over 40,000 employees is pretty important. So Dave, I can't wait to ask you about your tech stack, because you just mentioned a few things like real-time dashboards. And earlier you told us about your master customer database and gave us an overview of your data architecture. So tell me a little bit about the technology tools that you used and maybe why you chose them.
Sure, Greg. I would tell you, we've, as a software development company, we've taken an enormous pride over the years of developing a lot of our tools in-house ourselves. And those are the foundations of which we run our operational infrastructure. We do have the master client database, and the master interface to that client database is a web-based service that we've written in-house, as well as the related pipeline and opportunity management system, which are web-based, self-developed in-house. Integrating with both of those things is a purchased software that we use for managing our contract lifecycle management as we've evolved the contracting process to become a nearly all digital paperless event. We're in the very tail stages of making that happen. We are literally booking thousands and thousands of contracts every month in the digital environment, and that's only been increasing for the past year since we've rolled this out. Now, the additional layer, when I was speaking previously about the real-time dashboards, is a purchased product, web-based layer over top of our data structures that allows us to access multiple data structures in creating those real-time dashboards, regardless of where ultimately the source data lives. So whether it's going after that direct entity information or separately going after linked sales pipeline information or contract information, or maybe even separately client loyalty information, that overlay has the ability to assemble that information in real time, delivered via the web or tablet or mobilely.
Interesting. This is the second time I've heard this answer now. So one of our clients is Heartland Payment Systems, and they also developed their sales technology stack in-house. They have bought some purchased software and put it on top of it, but primarily at its core, it is internally developed. And both you and Heartland have a very clean technology stack that is helping the sales team make their number. In contrast, organizations that rely on packaged software from third parties, they're struggling. Now, I certainly don't want to broad brush this generally and saying all packaged software stinks. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that it appears that internally developed applications that support the sales force are outperforming third parties. Now, obviously you guys are a large software development house, you're a software company, so you have the internal resources to build. But that's at the expense of building products for your customers. So somewhere you guys made the decision, buy versus build, and you decided to build. How come?
Well, I think it's really evolved as the company has evolved, right? So we speak of the great scale of this organization at this point in time. It hasn't always been that way, right? We were a smaller company years ago, and so when you look at when you're kind of starting out and you're growing the business, the cost of some of these purchased applications and purchased products, it becomes more challenging at that scale. And then of course, as you grow and increase in size, it becomes more challenging as well. One of the key decision factors for us was really around scaling the cost, because once you have that infrastructure established, it is much less costly to maintain than it is to have the annual maintenance cost of a purchased package. However, Greg, I will caveat that with you've always got to be asking yourself the question, because as the needs of the sellers and the needs of the field and the needs of the business evolve, you should continue to ask yourselves the question as to whether or not the infrastructure is appropriate. And it wouldn't be, inappropriate to say at one point we may switch. We just haven't gotten to that decision point yet. We are not against it, but once it makes sense for us in terms of supporting the velocity of the sales organization with the velocity our infrastructure is able to support, we would change in a heartbeat if that were the case.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes people think, the monthly subscription on a per user basis is inexpensive. And that's true when you're at 10 reps. When you're in 10,000 reps, that's not true. So it's more cost effective when you do it in-house. Yep. Let me shift gears to another topic here, which is the quarterly business review. So many companies that are large like yours, that are at scale, that are public, their sales organization has a very regimented QBR. So do you guys do quarterly business reviews? And if so, what is the role that sales ops plays in those?
We're really a content provider to those quarterly business reviews, because the QBRs, as you call them, are really focused around the overall business, the business performance of our company. We have a very high degree of percentage of our revenue that occurs on a recurring basis. That's no secret, and so the management of those recurring revenues is a very vital part of our quarterly business reviews. Sales is really there to talk about growth and to talk about retention, the basis for which we're continuing to feed off of that recurring revenue, and to answer to the portion of the business that is not recurring, and how we're driving growth with our business segments there. And so, from a sales ops perspective, we are providing facility, we are providing content, and we are providing some interpretation over how that piece of the business is working and progressing.
Okay, very good. Last question for this segment, and we're going to take another little quick break here, is when I'm listening to you speak, it appears to me that you have some dependencies on other departments. Maybe it's IT or finance or the engineering team developing products, et cetera. Is that true? Do you have dependencies? And if so, which departments inside the company do you have to interface with the most?
You're absolutely right. We do have strong interdependencies with our finance team, our finance organization, and within our centralized IT department, because as we are a huge user and consumer of the master customer database infrastructure, we are not the only ones. Because sales ops and the selling process leverages that customer information, but so does the billing department, so does customer care and customer service, so does finance. So we're all kind of codependent on that infrastructure. And from a finance and so when we need changes made to that environment, we need to work with our centralized IT department, who actually lays the hands on the code for us to get what we need out of that infrastructure. From a finance side, as we've discussed earlier, this is a business of scale. And in a business of scale, things change, and things change constantly. We may be realigning business units from one part of the organization to another. New products are launched. Companies are acquired. Products are consolidated, and other products are integrated, and new solutions are created. When any of that activity happens, it needs to be somehow defined and represented as available or unavailable to the sales team, and revenue growth associated with those developments need to be represented. We lean very heavily on our finance organization to give us insight into those definitions, and we take those definitions and then we expose that to the sellers through our ops infrastructure that allows them to go in the marketplace, compete and win with those solutions.
Okay, very good. One thing I've always been impressed about your company for the years that we've known each other is there are dependencies, cross-functional dependencies. And at least from the outside, it looks like there's harmony from function to function. I'm sure there's your ups and downs, but you're getting what you need from finance, you're getting what you need from IT, and it sounds like they're getting what they need from you, which is great to hear. That's not always the case in some companies. All right, we're going to take one more break. When Dave and I come back, we're going to discuss what to do next if you're a sales ops leader who's working too many hours, in need of some balance. If you've liked listening to Dave and you want access to more peer-driven best practices, I suggest you subscribe to our blog. We deliver a best practice in 5 minutes or less every day that can be read right off your mobile device, and they're sourced from bright people like Dave. So here's some information on how to subscribe to the blog.
Each day, you receive hundreds of emails, tons of text messages, countless telephone calls, and sit in too many meetings. How do you find ideas to make the number with all this noise? The SBI blog filters all this nonsense for you and presents only first-rate ideas to make the number. Simplify your life. Subscribe to one blog and read the best content. Go to salesbenchmarkindex.com and subscribe today.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. Dave, let's put a nice bow on this if we can. I would like you to speak directly to our audience. So if our audience was sitting in front of you right now, and I asked you to give them 1 or 3 things that you would do immediately following this show to go from an overworked tactical sales ops leader to a well-balanced strategic sales ops leader, what would you tell them?
I would tell them one tactic out of the chute specifically, and that is to challenge inertia. In any organization that's been around for any length of time, there is a very good possibility that you're performing activities that are unnecessary. It's very easy to add functions, add features, add capabilities, add responsibilities to our world. But it's very difficult to determine when is the best time and the most appropriate time to stop doing those things. what was important 2 or 3 years ago, or maybe even critical 2 or 3 years ago, may not even be necessary anymore, or you may be driving such a small benefit from it that it's constraining you from delivering greater benefits in another area. So I would ask my colleagues, as well as I ask myself and my team on a regular basis, is to challenge inertia. What can we stop doing to free up resources that allow us to help contribute to those 3 objectives we spoke at the front end of this conversation, Greg?
Great advice. Challenge inertia. I mean, I love it just as a headline. And for people that are working in companies at scale like yours, I mean, I don't think there's any truer words that have ever been spoken. So let me take a shot at it. Let me tell the audience what I think all this means to you. So I'm going to speak in layman's terms here. I mean, sales teams can't make their numbers without a well thought out and executed sales ops strategy. As a former sales leader myself who co-founded SBI, the 2 people I co-founded it with were my former sales ops leaders from my 2 previous employees. I mean, that's how much I believe in the function. And this starts by gaining agreement on the objectives of the department. If the VP of sales does not stop abusing his or her sales ops leader by making them nothing more than report jockeys, then the revenue goals will get missed. That is why you care. So if you're listening to this and you're in sales ops and you're working 80 hours a week, go to your VP of sales and say, okay, we got to eliminate the noise here. I'm just running around and reacting to the idea of the moment. Let's get a strategy together. Let's establish some objectives. So if you want to make sure you get this right, then I'm going to keep pointing you to this year's research report titled How to Make Your Number in 2016. There's an entire section on sales ops strategy that is literally a how-to color by number, step-by-step approach. So I encourage you to go to our website. I'll give you the URL again, salesbenchmarkindex.com/2016. If you feel you might not have a sales ops strategy based on best practice and you want one, you can have one of our experts lead you through a workshop, which will detail how to do this. Go to the same URL, salesbenchmarkindex.com/2016 workshop, and one of our experts will come out and walk you and whoever you want through some exercises that will help you craft a sales ops strategy. Dave, you have made us all smarter. You are a role model for many of us. You have 15 years in the trenches of doing this stuff, and that's obvious. So I want to thank you for letting me put you on the spot with our little role play today, and I think everybody in the audience got a little smarter. So thanks a bunch for being on the show.
Well, thank you for having me, Greg. It's really been my pleasure to share what we're doing here at FIS.
Excellent. I also want to thank you, our audience, for tuning in. This show has become very popular, and with this popularity, I get a chance to have great guests like Dave on the show. I mean, if 2 people were watching or listening to the show, Dave wouldn't want to be on it. So I want to thank you very much for being a watcher and a listener. And until the next show, I want to wish you much success as you try to make your number.
This has been the SBI Podcast. For more information on SBI services, case studies, the SBI team and how we work, or to subscribe to our other offerings, please visit us at salesbenchmarkindex.com.